My original idea was actually, and this is back when I was like 19, I wanted to get a tattoo that says, from the Gladiator movie, and I was gonna get it in Latin, and it's death smiles at us all a man can do smile back. Really what it's coming down to is just that there's such a divide, and it's like, I wanna make sure that, you know, I'm on the right side in my belief. My name is Brad Doak, and I'm here at High Sierra Tattoo here in Clovis, and I came here to get my first tattoo. So my military experience, it started back January 23rd of 2006. I joined it because you know, I didn't have really much direction here, and I joined the Air Force because my dad was in the Air Force. He was also a Navy diver in Vietnam, but got out, got his commission, and became an officer in the Air Force. So that was a big influence on me. And so went to the Air Force, Lackland Air Force Base, and did my boot camp, and I became a security forces, which is their version of military police. And I ended up getting stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base doing nuclear security for about 3 years until I volunteered and went with the Army to Iraq, in which I did prisoner convoys and transported Iraqi prisoners from our base to Baghdad. The only way to leave really at that time for me was to volunteer to deploy. So then I deployed and went trained at Fort Lewis, Washington Army Base for, I think it was about 4 or 5 weeks or so, maybe longer, I can't remember. And then we went to Kuwait to adapt and train some more, and then we went into Iraq. And then after that, I did my time there in Iraq, went back to Montana, continued on, and then the next way out of that place was I volunteered to go to Korea, which is a remote. At the base I went at Kunsan, and a remote means you don't, I didn't have family to take, but if you have family, they stay behind, and you go for 1 year, and that's your tour duty there. So I did a year in Korea, which was probably my favorite job because I was town patrol, which means I was in charge of patrolling the downtown where all the military GIs would go and drink and hang out with the women, the Filipinos and Korea. And then after I did my time there, I had a chance to re-enlist, and I chose not to, and I got out and flew back home. When I went to Iraq and when I went to Korea, and just seeing for really the first time as an adult the differences in the way we live and other people live, and the way that the family life is oriented. In those countries, it was a lot of like, you know, family is most important. The camaraderie and the brotherhood and friendships I made along the way was really cool. To somebody interested in joining any branch of the military, I'd say give it some thought and realize that you are part of the government. So your personal views, you need to be able to set that aside, whatever they might be, and you're there for the cause. You know, mission comes first, as they say. It's hard to do that. I mean, we're all human, but if you can't separate yourself from that, then it's probably not for you. And yeah, the world has changed quite a bit. The mentality of the people in the United States has changed, I think. If you remember back September 11th, if people are old enough to remember that, and it's you know, we were kind of divided, it seemed, a little bit at the country, not like we are today, but we were. And then all of a sudden 9/11 happened and we were attacked. We became one again, and everybody was you know, everybody put their differences aside, and we were like, no, we're gonna go get the bad guys and we're gonna protect this country. I feel like we're coming to that again. It seems like something's gonna have to happen though to make it where we put our differences aside. The actual tattoo I was gonna get, but you know, I have little arms, was gonna be from Shakespeare, the Henry V play, in the St. Crispin Day speech that he gives, where he says, we few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he who sheds his blood with me today shall be my brother. So I shortened it down to just that. But you know, as I was saying earlier, I really think that this country is coming into, you know, a civil war, you might say, and there's one side and there's the other, and I want to be clear on which side that I'm on. So, you know, this is my first tattoo, but it's not my last, and I really feel that there's something coming, and I just wanted to separate myself. I watched something the other day, said, what do you think about people that wear flag shirts or something? And they were like, there's young people, and there were some older people, which I was surprised, but they were like, oh, they're probably part of the militia, and you know, and it's like, our flag. Every other country in the world, the flag means something. it seems like the flag doesn't mean anything to a lot of people now. They're not telling us everything, and they're just keeping us just, and then, you know, that's why they pumped out a lot of money, stimulating us to keep us, you know, quiet, keep us fed. But now with gas prices, inflation, you know, 30% higher than it was, the housing market, and it's like, now you're not giving us money though. So the military, what it did for me is it brought me quite a bit of discipline into my life, and showed me, you know, focus and stability, and it gave me a sense of what I could do, you know, and how far I could go, and willing to push myself. Like not too long ago I did a marathon, my first marathon, 26.2 miles I ran, and you know, if I was 18 years old right before I joined, you know, I wouldn't have been able to even do that, even though I was, you know, what, 15, 16 years younger, and I didn't have that mentality. I might have been in better shape, but I didn't have the mentality to keep going. What I got out of the military and the brotherhood was long-term friendships, and you know, I can go months, maybe even a year without saying anything to these guys, and then all of a sudden one of us will send each other something, and it'll be like we were just seeing each other yesterday. And I've never had that with anybody before, never since. And I had Minda as my artist, and she did an awesome job, and I'd recommend her in this shop to anybody. She did awesome. She was really nice and took care of me. It was to serve my country and do something that my father and my grandfather have done, and just to be part of a brotherhood and a family, which those same people, you know, I am family with. You know, a decade later after I've been out, we're still friends, even though we don't live in the same town or same state or even same country anymore. We're still lifelong friends and brothers. It made me appreciate my country, and traveling around the world and seeing different people and how they live, it definitely showed me how blessed we are in this country, and how grateful we should be, because, you know, we take the simplest things of turning on a light switch, or checking out your full fridge, or going to a grocery store and feeling relatively safe. We take that all for granted. In other countries and people, they don't have those same luxuries. We were walking around and in Cairo, and there was a little girl, probably 3 years old, and she was no shoes on, just dirty, had flies around her feet and face, and she was trying to sell me a little balloon. It looked like a balloon she might have just even found on the ground, and was trying to make money for her family and for herself to eat. And that really stood out to me as just, you know, again, how grateful I should be. And ever since really seeing things like that, it made me take nothing for granted. And that's another, to go back to the tattoo, is, you know, in life we could lose everything, but this will be with me forever.